It's Saturday afternoon. You're pulling into a Costco parking lot when a brand new pickup truck backs into the spot next to yours. Crew cab, blacked out grille, factory fresh paint, the kind of chrome that genuinely hurts your eyes in direct sunlight. The guy who steps out is wearing a polo shirt with an embroidered logo from a regional HVAC company. Lunchbox on the passenger seat, kid's car seat in the back. He walks to the bed, unlatches the tailgate, and loads in one case of bottled water and a giant bag of toilet paper. That's the haul. That's what the truck did today. And that truck cost more than his parents paid for their first house. My name is Joe. Today we're going to do something the auto industry desperately doesn't want us doing. We're going to figure out who can actually afford a $50,000 truck in 2026. Not who the dealer will approve. Who can actually afford it without quietly turning their financial life into a slow-motion disaster. First, let's establish what $50,000 actually gets you. Here's something nobody warns you about. $50,000 used to buy a really nice truck. Today it barely gets you a base model. The average transaction price for a new full-size pickup in 2026 is approximately $66,000. That's the average. That's what the typical buyer is actually driving off the lot in. So when we say $50,000 truck, we're talking about the stripped-down, entry-level, responsible choice Ford F-150 XLT, around $48,500 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 LT, around $47,900 Ram 1500 Bighorn, around $47,500 ad taxes, destination fees, documentation fees, and whatever creative line item the dealership invents that week. You've crossed $50,000 before you've even asked about floor mats. Now here's the comparison that should stop everyone cold. The median household income in America is approximately $84,000 per year before taxes. That means the average American household is being asked to spend roughly 60% of their entire pre-tax annual income on a single vehicle that will be worth half what they paid within 5 years. We've quietly accepted that a half-ton pickup truck now costs the same as a 4-year college degree at a public university. Trucks have become luxury items wearing a high-vis vest marketed using working-class imagery, priced like Italian sports cars. And nobody is really talking about it. Now let's talk about how people are actually paying for these things. You walk into the dealership. The salesperson, friendly, experienced, very good at this, asks you one specific question early in the conversation. What kind of monthly payment are you comfortable with? Not, what's your total budget? Not, have you thought about total cost of ownership? Just, what's your monthly number? That single question is the entire magic trick, because when you're focused on the monthly payment, you stop thinking about the total cost. And that's exactly where the math gets manipulated. Here's what's happening. The average new auto loan is now nearly 69 months, while almost 30% of new truck loans stretch from 73 to 84 months. For buyers rolling negative equity into a new loan, 43% end up with the full 84-month term. That's 7 years of payments on a vehicle that starts losing value immediately. Take a $50,000 truck, 0 down, 7% interest, financed over 84 months. The payment is $754, $85 a month, manageable on the surface. But over the loan's life, you'll pay $63,407 total. That's $13,407 in interest alone. After 1 year, the truck may be worth about $40,000, while the loan balance remains around $45,700. You're roughly $5,700 underwater, owing more than the truck is worth. The loan doesn't care. It still wants $754.85 every month. Here's the number that should concern you. In late 2025, about 20% of new vehicle purchases came with payments over $1,000 a month. 1 in 5 buyers is making what amounts to a second rent payment for a depreciating asset. The irony is that trucks are still marketed as the vehicle of working-class America, yet many of the workers featured in those ads can no longer afford them new. The new truck market has quietly become an upper-income market, while everyone else turns to used vehicles and higher-interest financing. Consider the Garcias. Carlos works in logistics. Maria teaches 4th grade. And together they earn $90,000 a year. They have 2 children and rent a home in the suburbs. Carlos bought a $50,000 truck with an 84-month loan and no down payment. After taxes, the family brings home about $5,600 a month. Rent, Childcare, groceries, utilities, and the truck's payment, insurance, and fuel consume virtually every dollar they earn. There's nothing left for savings, emergencies, repairs, or retirement. When Maria's aging SUV eventually needs a major repair, it goes on a credit card because there is no emergency fund. There is no emergency fund because the budget is already spoken for. Carlos wasn't reckless. He bought the base model and avoided unnecessary upgrades. But he'll spend the next 6.5 years making a $755 payment on a truck that mostly takes him to work. The truck didn't break the budget. The math did, and nobody at the dealership showed him the math. Now let's talk about what people actually use their trucks for. I can already hear some of you, but I actually need a truck. I tow. I haul. My job requires it. If that's genuinely you, this part isn't really directed at you. But let's look at what the data actually shows. Strategic Vision surveyed more than 250,000 truck owners about their real usage patterns and found 75% of truck owners tow something once a year or less, nearly 70% go off-road once a year or less, 35% put anything in the bed once a year or less, roughly 90% never use their truck for any work-related purpose. A separate study of Ford F-150 owners found that 63% rarely or never tow and 87% frequently use the truck for errands and shopping. The average modern pickup truck is a tall, expensive, fuel-inefficient grocery getter. Now meet Dave. Dave is an operations manager at an accounting firm. Desk job. He bought his truck in 2022 because he was genuinely going to start camping. He bought a kayak the same year. The kayak has never seen water. It sits in his garage and has become, at this point, a $400 piece of garage art. In 3 years, 3 things have been in the bed of Dave's truck: a bag of mulch, a Christmas tree, and a couch he sold on Facebook Marketplace for $40. Dave isn't the villain here. Dave is the statistical average truck owner, and he is paying $66,000 for a vehicle that functions as a commuter car with a large, empty compartment behind the cab. Here's the actual monthly cost of ownership, including expenses that are often not reflected in the sticker price. The vehicle loan payment, based on an 84-month loan at 7% interest, is approximately $755 per month. Full coverage insurance adds about $185 per month, while fuel costs, assuming 18 mpg, 15,000 miles driven annually, and gas at $4 per gallon, come to roughly $275 per month. Routine maintenance is estimated at $90 per month, and registration and related fees add another $55 per month. When all of these costs are included, the total monthly cost of owning the vehicle is approximately $1,360 per month. And then, there's the silent number nobody puts on a spreadsheet: depreciation. Your $50,000 truck loses approximately $10,000 in value in the first year alone. By year 5, it's lost roughly $27,000 to $30,000 in market value, real wealth, evaporating while the truck sits in your driveway overnight. Now here's the part I want you to actually remember. What if instead of the $50,000 truck you bought a 5-year-old Toyota Camry for $20,000? Reliable, boring, your dentist's car. Total monthly cost of ownership, approximately $700 per month. The truck costs $1,400 per month. The Camry costs $700. That's a $700 monthly difference. What if you invested that $700 every month into a basic S&P 500 index fund, which has historically returned approximately 8% annually over long periods? In 30 years, that $700 per month becomes approximately $1,040,000. $1 million. An actual retirement. The difference between finishing your working years with options and finishing them with anxiety. All from one decision made in your 30s because a salesman asked what monthly payment felt comfortable. So who actually can afford this? Under the traditional 24-10 rule, 20% down, finance no longer than 4 years, total vehicle costs under 10% of gross income. The math requires $10,000 cash for a down payment, ability to handle roughly $950 per month on a 4-year loan, annual gross income of approximately $150,000 or more. That's roughly the top 15% of American earners. The people actually buying the most trucks aggressively? Households making $60,000 to $100,000 per year. The Garcias, the Daves, signing 84-month loans with nothing down because the dealer said approved, because their neighbor did it, because the commercial made it look completely normal. And here's the thing: the dealer makes the margin, the bank makes the interest, the insurance company makes the premiums, the manufacturer makes the markup. The only person losing money in that entire transaction is the buyer. Before you sign, spend 30 minutes calculating the real monthly cost, loan, insurance, fuel, maintenance, registration, everything. Then ask one honest question. Can I truly afford this? Or have I simply been told I can? Being approved and being able to afford something are not the same. The bank calculates how much financial strain you can handle before defaulting. They're not thinking about your retirement emergency fund or your kid's next dentist bill. That's not their job. It's yours. If you genuinely need a truck for towing, hauling, or running a business, buy it with clear eyes and a full understanding of the numbers. But if you don't, the most financially intelligent thing you can do in 2026 isn't buying the truck. It's looking at the chrome, looking at the salesman, and saying, no thanks. I'd rather keep the retirement.